Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Max and Tommy here with Because Bitcoin. I am the CEO of Because Bitcoin. Today, we are going to be speaking with Snorlax again. Also, Tommy, he's our VP of Operations and sort of our unofficial in-house quant.
It's my quant.
Your what?
My quantitative.
So, what a treat it is to be speaking with him here today. Tommy gave our Discord a pretty awesome signal the other day. He's been doing some high time frame, low time frame, mid time frame analysis, and also trading on Matic, ticker Matic. He's been in that trade now for a few days, and it's been going pretty well, but he is nowhere near his ultimate TP. So today, Tommy, our in-house quant and VP of operations, is going to be breaking down what he's seeing in the Matic chart, why he's in the trade that he's in, and what he could see moving forward. So Tommy, thanks so much for being here, man. I'm going to pull your chart up and let's get right into it.
Thanks, Max. You guys flatter me with the with the quant label, but yeah, no, I mean, I guess I'll just start from a higher time frame with Matic and kind of break down my line of thinking with it, right? I mean, ultimately, the more you zoom out on Matic, I think it paints somewhat of a negative picture, right? Obviously, last summer we formed a low. We bounced. It was one of the highest performing assets among layer ones last summer, in the midst of all the the bear market turmoil that we kind of experienced in 2022. But ultimately, what we're kind of seeing with Matic, contextually speaking, right, is a high time frame downtrend, and you can see that here, right? We have a higher high. A slightly higher high here, but the momentum was much weaker. Big sell-off. We have the lower low here on this current structure, but here we can see, the higher time frame structure really start to, I would say take shape, right? You have this lower high start to form with a strong rejection. I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, that this is a macro low. I think I said high or low. I meant to say low or high. A macro low or high on Matic. So already I know, okay, if this is a higher low right here, right, theoretically speaking, we can either go down to retest this liquidity, assuming this continues to reject in here, or we can even go as deep as making a lower low. And I have, kind of this level outlined as this is like the deepest level of liquidity I could see Matic pulling back into within a downtrend. That's not my expectation. Actually have, kind of this level marked out as a level that Matic could pull into. And I'll get into, the reason why in just a second. But, breaking down price action even further, and bear with me, guys, because my computer might be a little bit slow to load some of these charts. I felt as though the price action that we were seeing on Matic was very resemblant to price action that we'd seen in the past, right? This price action right here, because I was telling Max before we went live, mostly my edge when it comes to trading markets is entirely down to pattern recognition and seeing things that I feel like I've seen before. And when I looked at this run up that Matic had at the beginning of 2023, especially the sell off, right? Especially the sell off, I felt as though, I saw very similar structure being printed over here in the present, right? Ultimately, if you were to break this down from an ICT standpoint, it's like it's printing a sell model, right? Where you have your base right here, you've got your first bit of buy side liquidity coming in to push price into the high, then you've got two levels of supply here, and ultimately, a sell off below, the support. It did take a little bit longer back with this Matic break, but just going back to the idea of kind of recognizing price action, right? I think this is also maybe representative of where Matic is as well, where you had the bit of consolidation, the slow grind up. And you can see here, right? When you look at the price action, it's defending these lows, defends the lows, doesn't sweep the lows until it makes a high. It pushes all the shorts out of the market, and only then does it start to break down. And when it goes, it takes all of these lows in one go, right? Which is kind of what I think we might be seeing right here, where we deviated, some of these trend EMAs, and eventually when we dip down below them, momentum looked weak and we sold off. Looks to me like we're seeing the exact same thing on Matic right here. And the thing that Matic loves to do, which I kind of appreciate about its price action, it does a similar dynamic to defending these lows in both directions, right? I mean, You can see a similar pattern on the run up here where we defend these lows all the way up into a new high. You can see this buy volume right here, peak buy volume. That's how you know shorts got squeezed out of the market. And I'll get into the OI profile in just a second as well. But, you know, protecting the lows. And now on this downtrend, right, we're protecting the highs. And I think that's the biggest thing that is suggesting to me that Matic could potentially, you know, see aggressively lower prices in a markdown like fashion. If it is, you know, price action that is resemblant to what we're seeing here, and we are losing momentum after the squeeze, potentially see another leg down. That you know, you would expect if for a bullish shift, right? You know, you have go down to a lower time frame than 12-hour. When you're talking about like a market structure shift, right? Where would you be looking to get long with the assumption that, right, like you have all this OI, you would think, that's been built up from this bleed, right? So if you flip a high, right? I have it marked out by this red box, this orange line. You say you flip these highs, you would immediately be looking at a shift in market structure, right? If you were able to come up here and shift that just like that, right? You've trapped all those shorts beneath this structure. So, you know, when I was looking to play shorts on this, I actually shorted it here at points, and I've taken this on multiple accounts because I've have varying levels of conviction throughout the week at different price points, right? Ultimately, I did feel the direction would be down because of the price action that I recognized, right? But we also had market structure really giving me signal, I think, throughout the week that this is going to continue lower. We have the trend EMA crossovers. Typically, when you see these crossover high time frame moving averages, it is a sign of a loss of momentum. On Matic, that has been especially actionable, I would say, to trade over the last year or so. But yeah, I mean, you're defending these highs on the way down. It's a bleed. And people assume just because it's a bleed, you know, that is the type of structure that you can erase with just one candle, yes, but it's also a sign of bearishness when you see highs defended like this, right? And just this consistent bleed into a level of support now where you would think the bulls kind of have to defend, or else it's going to be a pretty gnarly puke for Matic.
So
And I think
Tommy,
that would
quick
start, right?
question for you. Quick question for
For
you. Can
sure.
you point out where your first entry was? I know you've had multiple entries now, but can you show us where your first entry was and why you decided to pull the trigger?
For sure. So, I mean, it was really kind of a more lower time frame thing, right? You look at structure here. Where do I know, just looking at structure from a past experience, right? Like, where did longs come in? Probably here, and then probably here. And then this candle right here, they definitely came in as well, and you had people get squeezed. That was where the real, you can see by the volume, that was the big level. So when I saw, I think this level right here, this where I knew longs came in right here, when we swept this high, to me, that was a signal of immense weakness when we could not break market structure, right? This is a failed market structure break. It's a sign that we're going to see trend continuation lower, which is so far what we've seen. So my first entry was really closer to 0.73, and I've been compounding as each market structure break has failed, right? Like, this is a failed market structure break. I took another short in here, and then down here we had a failed market structure break right here. I took a short there. So I have shorts running on 3 different accounts, really, until Matic can prove to me that it can break market structure. And so it also helps me, you know, manage my risk when I know if we flip structure at all, it's probably going to come back and backfill all my positions. But until it does that, you know, my stops are safe, as CZ would say. But
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
far as
well said.
downside targets, Max, I can touch on that really briefly as well, because
Mhm.
I think you're going to get a really good gauge about how aggressive this sell-off is going to be on Matic probably within the next few days. If you get an aggressive move down, I think towards these lows, like we're talking not a bleed, but an aggressive move down over the weekend, then I think the case for trading much lower than just this range is definitely there. And you're probably looking at downside targets of the low that we formed in June, you know, near 0.5 for a bounce. But you're also on a higher time frame looking for, I think, this liquidity to potentially be tapped, which would be the naked point of control of kind of this previous bounce area that we had last time. There's an inefficiency here. It's a big level for volume. So I just have it marked out. I think it's a level that could generate a reaction. Otherwise, if it doesn't, you are literally coming all the way down to retest and probably sweep the 2022 June low, which would be about 50% lower than here. And I know that sounds very far away, but we forget how quickly these altcoins can move in either direction, Max. And if this does look ready for expansion to me personally, it's running out of time to start flipping some highs, but it looks like it might break down fairly soon,
Yeah,
especially if the
I
price
would agree
action,
with you.
plays out similarly.
Now, how much of your analysis for trading Matic is tethered, no pun intended, to Bitcoin and Ethereum's price action?
A lot. I would love this is actually why I don't really love to trade alt perps, Max, is because I am primarily a Bitcoin and Ethereum trader. So I base the majority of my convictions off Bitcoin and Ethereum. But what I've kind of found over the last few months is a balance where I'm able to almost deduce where Bitcoin and Ethereum are going because I've seen the price action before on altcoins. And that sounds kind of funny
Mhm.
when I say it like that. But I posted in our Discord plenty of times. I'm not going to overlay the fractal right now in the video because I think the lag would be pretty crazy. But I've pasted basically this fractal of price onto Matic multiple times, and it has really guided my thinking that and my conviction as well for Matic. There have been plenty of bounces in between. It's chopping at the support level, I think, to shake out shorts, but there's been plenty of like I look at the fractal that I overlay on Matic, for example, and it's showing that it still wants to go down. It's showing that we haven't broken it, and I can see on the chart we haven't broken any highs, so the fractal's still valid. So slowly but surely over time, uh, ironically, altcoin fractals suggesting downside kind of give me a bit more conviction that Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably headed towards downside as well. Just because, not just that I recognize the price action, Max, but I felt like the conditions of the overall market were very similar to the price action that I was comparing it to. So it feels contextually very similar to me.
Mm.
Some other, I would say, just a little anecdotal thing that, and let me know if you're able to see are you able to see Coinalyze right now, Max, or do I need to
I
actually?
think
I
you'll
think I
need
can.
to, switch from TradingView
Perfect.
to Coinalyze. Yep, looks perfect.
Perfect. Just kind of anecdotally, right? You look at the Matic OI on a higher time frame. This is for one open interest that has chopped people to bits for ages. Like this whole chop and range. I mean, you can see open interest just get systematically taken out of the market since it came in. But we do kind of have this almost support level for open interest. You can't really use it as actionably necessarily as super granular order flow data, right? But you would, I think, like to see open interest come down into this level before you're looking at a bottom. And I think the OI that's left in the system, Max, is more than likely long because, we can zoom in to our current consolidation, right? And you can see we got this huge spike. You can see, and also kind of using the confluence of the volume that we saw in the chart, we know that shorts got squeezed on this candle. So we can assume that like this OI coming off here, given that it's red on our green candles and at the top, it's likely shorts that came off the board here. And as we're just kind of bleeding down, you can see on OI, there is no meaningful shift in open interest to ignite another squeeze on Matic, which is why we've just continued to bleed lower. Even though sometimes funding has been negative, it's flipped negative on very negligible amounts of open interest.
Very interesting. So when you're looking to TP this position, you gave some downside targets. How much of a role does open interest play in your decision to close out? Do you want to see it hit that blue line, or is it really just sort of something you keep an eye on, but mainly you're focused on liquidity on the actual chart?
Uh, well, I'll probably take both into account. If we're talking about like serious downside targets, then I think you always want to be a little bit careful about setting targets because, you never want to be caught in a position that you're holding on for too long. But if I'm just looking at where the long OI probably has their stops in this structure, I'm at least looking here, that we'd probably see a puke of longs. But I want to see open interest come down into here. And if we do get a wick that kind of comes down into here, maybe shorts start building up again, but price is still trending lower, maybe I'll recalibrate. A lot of these altcoins in general don't have a ton of open interest to shed, but they're very illiquid. So if Bitcoin moves lower, then obviously altcoins are going to move dramatically lower. And I would say my biggest barometer for gauging when to exit the trade will be more so Bitcoin and also Ethereum, right? Since we're having kind of this turmoil within DeFi.
Last question for you. When you were weighing whether to take this trade or not, did you at all chart Matic against Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Not as much for this trade, actually. I had I don't know if you remember, Max, but I had a Matic Bitcoin trade back in, I think, March that was about 40 or 50%. I might still have it loaded up on the chart, probably not. But I really wasn't as big of confluence for me on this trade. I've kind of expected Matic Bitcoin to bleed for a while. But I think this one came pretty much exclusively from looking at Matic USD prices and recognizing the PA. Like the first time I caught this trade, I was talking about it from literally, I think here actually, or maybe even up here. So I nailed this move down, but I do think Matic. Yeah, I mean, I'll just pretty much leave it at that. I pretty much glean most of it from Matic USD this time, whereas most times I will use Bitcoin pairs for confluence because I feel like they're incredibly useful. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I used the Bitcoin pair for this particular instance, but I do find them to be immensely helpful often.
Yeah, great. All right, well, guys, that was a pretty thorough and comprehensive breakdown on Snorlax, also known as Tommy, also known as VP of Operations, also known as the in-house quantitative mind at Because Bitcoin. So I hope you guys found some utility and value out of this video. We'll be sure to check back in with Tommy here, hopefully early next week, and maybe Matic will be sitting at 35 or 40 cents, Tommy. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you want a more intimate look at Tommy's positioning and my positioning and our entire Because Bitcoin team, definitely check out the link below in the description to our Discord. We are offering a 1-week free trial if you sign up. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have not yet, please consider liking and subscribing, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.